In the next 5 classes, I'm going to deal with a very, very important question. Who is the next Gadol? And if you are a child, a husband, a daughter who is in a marriage parsha, what can we do to ensure that our child has a chance to be the Gadol, or that our daughter has a chance to marry the Gadol? Last night was a wedding of my Talmud Chaver. I would even call him a Rebbe. He's 21 from Brooklyn, Shlomo Chaim Sternhell. He got married to someone from the Graneman family. Here's the invitation. It was last night in Bnei Brak in Heichel HaMelech Hall. And this young man is the most bright, intelligent genius. He has the entire Torah on his fingertips. And I'm 100% sure, I told this for the father-in-law, that in 21 years from now, 21 years from now, maybe 30, 40, who knows how long it'll take, you'll be hearing that name, Shlomo Chaim Sternhell. How do we know who is the Gadol, and how do we know who will be the Gadol? So I'd like to tell you something I heard from Moshe Sternbach. You should be healthy till 120. He told me once that Rav Meir Shapira had a yeshiva, and in his yeshiva, he had 400 bachrim. And the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Shapira, said, I have 400 bachrim. 399 will know what a gadol looks like, and one will be a gadol. To know what a gadol looks like, that's not an easy thing. When Roshach was serving as the Gadol for the Litvish Jewish community, he was a little bit older. He pointed out a number of young Talmidei Chachamim, and he said, these young Talmidei Chachamim were going to be the Gadol. And one of them was Rav David Kohen. He was our Shadchan. I've had a connection with him for the past 40 years. And Rav Shach understood, and he knew that he has the elements that are needed to be the Gadol. What are those elements? In the next 5 classes, we're going to speak about that, and what you should emphasize in educating your children, your daughters, your sons, and how we can make sure that for the next generation we'll have Gedolim. The first thing we have to know is that what is needed to be called an Adam Gadol is a Meforsha Mishnah. It's an open Mishnah in the 6th parak of Pirkei Avos, the 48 Kinyanim. There are 48 attributes that are listed in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that describe what you need to have a Kinyan Torah, how to acquire the Torah. All of these attributes are critical for a person to really be a Talmid Chacham and to have a Kinyan Torah. A person can know Torah in his head, but to feel it in his heart, as Roshach used to say, that when you cut someone's veins open, Torah should come out. That's an Adam Gadol. If you have these 48 acquisitions, then you have the kli, you have the utensil to hold the Torah, so you can become the Gadol. So those 48 kinyanim are very, very important, critical. The Vilna Gaon explains a Mishlei on the pasuk, Rabos Banos Asochayil V'yat Aliso Al Kulana. Rabos Banos Asochayil. Chayil is gematria. It's a numerical value of 48. Right? Those 48 kinyanim, it's very difficult for one person to have all of them. And therefore, says the Vilna Gaon, if you're in a chabura, if you're a group of people who each one of the people in the group has 1 or 2 or 3 of those kinyanim, then that's Rabos Banos Atzachayil. Together you could have them. Va'at alis al kulano. But the one great individual who has all of these kinyanim, that's at alis al kulano. That person, that could be the Adam Gadol, who the Vilna Gaon says that the Adam Gadol, the greatest person of every generation, is given the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. He's able to reach the spiritual heights of Moshe Rabbeinu and to reach very, very great, great heights. And this is something we have to do. The first thing is we have to know very, very well this Mishnah. We should be constantly going it over with our family and integrating it into our life. That's number 1, right? But what's very, very important also, if you want your son to be a great person in Torah, if you want your daughter to marry a great person in Torah, if you want your husband to be a great person in Torah, it's very, very important to know the following statement, which I heard from Rebbetzin Kushlevsky, the previous Rebbetzin Kushlevsky Zatzal. She said like this. She said that you don't marry a Rosh Yeshiva, you make a Rosh Yeshiva. If a woman really, really wants her husband to be great in Torah, She has to provide him with the structure. Behind every great man is a great woman. And if a wife provides her husband with the structure, if a wife provides her husband with the structure that he is able to learn with peace of mind, to love Torah, to cherish Torah, to really be part of Torah, then that is critical for a young married man to become a great Torah scholar, right? That's number one. Number two is chinuch, educating your children, loving Torah. Even more important than what you teach your Torah is how you teach your Torah, right? Rav Aaron Soloveitchik said once, he said, a man's job is to pass over the content of Har Sinai. A woman's job, the mother, the wife, is is give over the experience of Har Sinai, to create a home where there's love of Torah, where Torah is the most important thing. Rav Aaron Kotler's students would try to get him to say the word Torah, because when he said the word Torah, his whole life, his whole face was filled with joy and excitement. And this was the fuel, this was the energy that gave him sustenance. And if we look at Torah that way, then our children will value Torah as the most important thing, and this is critical for education. Now, it's true, to be the Gadol Ador, as we'll speak about that, there's many attributes needed, but we'll conclude with one point. It's very, very important that a person should have children, should raise children. It's very important to have children and raise children. And you couldn't be on the Sanhedrin unless you had children. Unless you had children, you couldn't be on the Sanhedrin. But there were many great Gedolim, the Chazon Ish, my Rebbe Rosul Auerbach, Rav Yisachar Meir of Netivot, and other great Gedolim in the past who didn't have children. And this, even though they didn't have children, Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, became their children. So to sum up, if you want your children to be successful in Torah, if you want them to achieve true Torah greatness, two things we said here today. Number one, the 48 Kinyanim. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, know well, talk about it, inculcate these very, very important attributes in your children. And number two, create a home, family environment, the warmth of Torah, the light of Torah, the experience of Torah, the content of Torah. Your house should be a place where Talmidei Chachamim feel comfortable. In this structure, this is how, you could be zoiche to have children who could be very great in Torah. Amen. Kain Tirot Son.